How's everyone doing today? It's your boy JG Domination, and we have our mock draft 1.0 for you guys. I said after the Super Bowl I'd be doing one of these, and we are. So I want to give you guys the layout of how it's going to go for these mock drafts. I plan on doing 4 on the channel before the actual draft comes. This will be 1.0, the post-Super Bowl mock draft. And then the 2.0 will be after the draft combine. You know, after we learn more about a lot of these prospects. And then the third one will be after the first couple of big waves of free agency. And then the fourth and final one will be the week of the NFL draft. And that one, since it's the last one, we will include trades in that one. But the first 3 are not going to have any trades. We're just going to go based on what we know and the current order that is in front of us. And I did try to switch things up. I know a lot of these picks are going to be the same from ones you've heard before, but that's because I really like the fit of a lot of these. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. At number 1 overall, I have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Joe Burrow, quarterback from LSU. What a turnaround for Joe Burrow in his collegiate career, going from a guy that was probably going to be a 6th or 7th round pick if he would have came out as a junior to a guy that bet on himself, went back to school for his senior year, and just had an awesome season, winning the Heisman, arguably one of the best seasons we've seen in a long time. And Joe Burrow, like I said, deemed as the safest quarterback prospect. I would like to agree with that. And he does have experience working in a pro-style, NFL-style offense with Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, who now finds himself with the Carolina Panthers back in the NFL again. Good to see. So yeah, Joe Burrow for number 1. At number 2 overall, I have the Washington Redskins going with Chase Young, the edge rusher from Ohio State. I see this is just how it's going to go. That's the first 2 picks. It's similar to last year with Kyler Murray and Nick Bosa, you know, quarterback and then the top defensive player on the board. That's how I see it playing out too, with Chase Young going to the Washington Redskins. With Ron Rivera there, are they going to run a 4-3 or stay in the 3-4? Who knows? But now you present yourself a lot of different opportunities, having Chase Young in there with Montez Sweat, potentially Ryan Kerrigan. We'll see how that plays out this offseason. But it's definitely going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. But Chase Young, good fit, does a lot of good things out there. It goes beyond sack production. You know, do you create sacks for others? Do you still generate pressure being doubled and triple teamed? And Chase Young, to me, checks off all those boxes. At number 3 overall, we have the Detroit Lions going with Jeffrey Okudah, the cornerback from Ohio State. Now, in my opinion, this is a trade down spot for Detroit. I could definitely see them doing that. But then again, like, you think about it from the other perspective, like, they probably wouldn't do this because their whole, like, staff is, like, on the hot seat next year. Like, they have to start winning games, and they probably won't trade down. They'll probably just take the best player available, and for me, that's Jeffrey Okudah. He fits what the Detroit Lions want to do, which is run a lot of man press. On defense, they run more man-to-man and press coverage more than any other team in the league statistically. It just seems like a perfect fit for the Detroit Lions. You could play him next to Darius Slay, and I think it would work, man. And he would be the first corner since Jalen Ramsey selected in the top 5. And we've seen a lot of good corners since Jalen Ramsey, just throwing that out there. At number 4 overall, I have the New York Giants going with Andrew Thomas, the offensive lineman from Georgia. Andrew Thomas, to me, is the most pro-ready of the offensive linemen, playing at a pro-style run-heavy offense in Georgia. Andrew Thomas, to me, it just seems like a good fit for the Giants. They're a team that wants to run the football. They also have to protect Daniel Jones, and he can play left or right tackle. I know you have Nate Solder there, so you probably want to play Andrew Thomas at right tackle, but it'll be interesting. I do think he's the most pro-ready of the tackles, and I know Giants fans are going to want Isaiah Simmons here, but I think they're going to play it safe and go Andrew Thomas, but we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong for the Giants' sake. It'd be awesome to see Isaiah Simmons in a Giants uniform. At number 5 overall, we're just going to go ahead and do it. We're going to give the Miami Dolphins Tua Tagovailoa from the University of Alabama. I really like Tua. Tua seems like a cool dude. Just watching him interview and stuff, he's very humble. He's all about family. and the team and whatnot. Like, Tua just seems like a genuinely good kid, and I am rooting for him as a person. As a quarterback, we'll see. I'm intrigued by Tua. I'm excited for him, and I hope it does work out for him. But Miami has to put together a good team. Like, there is a ton of pressure on them. They have to put together a good team, and they have to protect Tua. But the thing about Tua is he could sit out for a year. He doesn't even have to play this year, because you got Ryan Fitzpatrick there. You still have Josh Rosen. That'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with him. What's his future? Because I don't know. Is he a career backup? Is he a bum? Who knows? But you could probably say yes to both, but who knows? I'm just going to leave it up in the air. But Tua, I see him going to Miami. It's just meant to be. From the whole tank for Tua thing to now, it would just feel like a shame if they didn't do it. At number 6 overall, the Los Angeles Chargers. They're in a pretty damn good position. A great roster, but they had an ultimate disaster year. I have them going with Justin Herbert, quarterback from Oregon. I'm not the biggest Justin Herbert fan, to be honest. Like, I know he has the physical traits, but to me, he just lacks that it factor. And to be honest, like, he really didn't improve from his junior to senior year. Like, if you're going to bank on yourself and go back for your senior year, you got to show signs of improvement. You got to show signs of growth. And to me, he really didn't. But I'm hoping at the NFL Combine and, like, for interviews and all that, I'm hoping that I'm proven wrong on that, because the Chargers need to think about their future as well, because they have a young roster, a talented roster at that, and guys are going to have to getting paid soon. So I hope for their sake they're able to get Justin Herbert, on this rookie contract, obviously, and I hope he works, because the Chargers, like, all of a sudden, they need to start thinking about their future, because you have the Raiders, of course, who they're moving to Las Vegas, and I can see a world where they improve a good bit. Denver, I mean, y'all saw the video I did on my, top 10 non-playoff teams that can make it. They were number 2, indicating that they'll probably make it. So they got a lot of improvement to make. They're on the clock for real. But at number 7 overall, I have the Carolina Panthers going with Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker / safety from Clemson. Very intriguing player. I do think he will be a linebacker at the next level. But if you actually look at his snap count from Clemson, he played the majority of his snaps at slot corner. Now, I want you to keep in mind, this is a guy who is 6'4", 230 pounds. He's not playing slot corner in the NFL. Just breaking news. Okay, he will be a linebacker, maybe an in-the-box safety playing the Cam Chancellor role, but I think he'll be a linebacker. But if you actually look at his snap count from Clemson, 9% of his snaps are played at inside linebacker, I think. But I think he could play good off the ball or be a traditional middle linebacker. I don't know what defense they're going to run this year, because you got to think Ron Rivera's out of there. They may want to change things up. But if they do stay in the 3-4, I do like him as a middle linebacker next to Shaq Thompson, who Shaq Thompson's another one of these guys that used to be a safety. He's playing linebacker from the University of Washington, and he's a pretty good player in his own right. So a good mentor for Isaiah Simmons to have, and a good sidekick as well. At number 9 overall, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars going with Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver from Alabama, being regarded as the best receiver in this class, and rightfully so. I mean, he's a pretty good route runner. He's got, good enough speed. I don't know why people trip out about 40s. Like, if you can get open and catch the ball, that's what I care about. Like, even if your route running is not the most crisp, I mean, these offenses can scheme you open. Just catch the damn football, please. And don't be a liability. Be an asset. But I think Jerry Jeudy is the best receiver in this class. It's definitely between him and CeeDee Lamb. It's pretty close. I'll give Jeudy a slight edge. I think CeeDee Lamb is a better playmaker, like more explosive, but I think Jerry Jeudy might just be the better overall guy, if that makes sense. But I could be wrong about that, and like I said, my opinions will change, of course, because I'm doing 4 of these. Things are bound to change. Opinions and perceptions are bound to change. But for right now, I think that's how I have it. Jerry Jeudy at number 9, and being wide receiver 1 in the class. At number 10 overall, the Cleveland Browns, I have them going with Tristan Wirfs, the offensive lineman from Iowa. They are an offensive line, factory. They're O-line U, baby, and tight end U, because, You got George Kittle, you got Noah Fant, T.J. Hawkinson. They got all the tight ends, man. But Tristan Wirfs right here, I like his potential at guard. I think he could be a pretty damn good guard. Similar to another Iowa offensive lineman, Brandon Sheriff, for the Washington Redskins. But right here with Tristan Wirfs, he does have a wrestling background, and he's a nasty run blocker. I like the sounds of that, because having a wrestling background and being an offensive lineman, how can you suck? I guess if you were a shit wrestler, but for Tristan Wirfs, I am excited about him, and I think this would be an intriguing fit with the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if he fits the zone run scheme because they're more of a power team over there in Iowa, but that's why you could play him at guard. You can hide, some of the zone run blocking schemes if he's not really proficient at that. You can hide some of those if he's playing at guard, because you can either have him pull or just slide protect to the right, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he could be pretty good. At number 11, maybe a little bit of a shocker, but I do have the New York Jets taking Chasen, the edge rusher from LSU. Chasen, they actually, at LSU, they had him drop back in coverage a good bit and rush the passer, like, as a defensive end. And I think he can do a little bit of both. But I think he's going to grade out better as an edge rusher. But I want you to think about this. Last year, the New York Jets tried to sign Anthony Barr, who, as we know, can cover, ask to cover at times, and can also rush the passer. That was his, his game at UCLA. That's what he does for the Vikings. Instead, Anthony Barr goes back to the Vikings. So Greg Williams will be getting that Swiss Army knife that he would like. A guy that's a better pass rusher, but can drop back in coverage when asked at the outside linebacker position. I think it'll be interesting. The fit of Chasen, I could definitely see a world where he is the number 11 overall pick. That is the highest I could see him going right now. But yeah, I could totally see it happening. At number 12, you have the Las Vegas Raiders. They need to make a splash. The draft is in Vegas. This team needs something positive to be talked about. We'll give them CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver from Oklahoma. Probably the biggest playmaker in the class and the most explosive receiver in the class. Like, your offense can be doing jack shit. They can be doing nothing. And all of a sudden, he just gets a 60-yard bomb for a touchdown. That's the kind of receiver CeeDee Lamb is. He is a true difference maker for an offense. And I think he'd help Derek Carr or whoever the future guy is as, a wide receiver that could do a lot of different things. And this offense has Tyrell Williams, who is more of a deep threat. They have Josh Jacobs, who's more of a ground and pound style of running back. They have Darren Waller, who is more of the vertical threat at the tight end position. Now you get a wide receiver that can do a little bit of everything and be a big time playmaker for the Las Vegas Raiders. It's hard not to like that pick. And then at number 13, I have the Indianapolis Colts going with Jordan Love, the quarterback from Utah State. And a little, it was surprising to me at first when I was hearing about him, but the more I watched of him, the more I saw his tape, even from 2018, where he just had an awesome season. And even this year, with, you look at the stats, pretty bad, right? 20 touchdowns, 17 picks. But if you look at his tape, there is a lot to like about him. He does have some upside, and I think with the Colts could be pretty good. Like, you never know. Maybe it could work out. Maybe it doesn't. Quarterback's the hardest position to find out. Guys have been wrong and right on guys all the time. He does have some upside, definitely fair to say. And, I do see, shades of, like, Carson Wentz in there a little bit, but I don't know about the whole Patrick Mahomes upside thing. We got to chill on that. We'll see. We'll see. Don't get me wrong. But at number 14 overall, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Derek Brown, defensive lineman from Auburn. How the hell is he falling here? Well, let's be real. Someone falls every year. Last year, it was guys like DK Metcalf, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Dexter Lawrence, Guys just fall all the time. A.J. Brown as well. That's just how the draft goes. Guys are going to fall all the time. And Derrick Brown, who you could argue could go as high as number 7 to the Carolina Panthers. I have him going at 14 to Tampa Bay. I think he'd be a good fit, offer some pass rush from the interior, and I think he'd be a good sidekick next to Vita Vea. So having him slip is probably the best thing that can happen to Derrick Brown because, well, he's a good player, but you'd like him to be surrounded by more talent. And I think you get that here with Tampa Bay, specifically on the defensive line. Maybe not in the secondary because they are a young secondary, but, could be something fun there. At number 15 overall, the Denver Broncos. I have them taking Henry Ruggs, the wide receiver from Alabama. Will he break the combine record for the 40-yard dash? I don't know. But I do think he is going to run 4.2. My guess would be 4.27. That's my prediction for Henry Ruggs. Definitely a deep threat and could be a fun little weapon for Drew Lock in this offense that now has Cortland Sutton and Noah Fant and, of course, Phillip Lindsay. Adding Henry Ruggs, hey, that's another weapon for Drew Lock for a team that I do think will be much better next year. But we'll see. I really like the fit right there. I like the pick, which is why I had to make it. At number 16 overall, the Atlanta Falcons. I have them drafting A.J. Epineza, the edge rusher from Iowa. I think this guy could be the Michael Bennett for the Dan Quinn Seattle Seahawks scheme that they want to run over there. Could play the Michael Bennett role. You can line him up inside on pass rushing downs, play him on the edge for rushing downs. Because let's face it, Vic Beasley, Takk McKinley, let's be real, they're not cutting it. Vic Beasley may not even be here next year. And as for Takk McKinley, we're going to have to see because he's entering, year 4? It's put up or shut up. Last year should have been the year for Takk McKinley to really break out and be a dominant force, but he just wasn't. So you can't be afraid to get better at this position, and I think with Epineza, who has an intriguing body type and skill set, I think you do get better for sure. So it'll be fun to see, and to me, it's probably one of the best fits of the draft, and I've been saying that for a lot of picks, so that should tell you something. I think A.J. Epineza is probably the best fit to the Atlanta Falcons here out of all the fits I have in the draft. At number 17 overall, I have the Dallas Cowboys taking Siobhan Kinlaw, the defensive tackle from South Carolina. You could probably flip both of these picks right here and still be happy. You could have Kinlaw go to the Falcons and Epineza go to the Cowboys, and I'd still be happy with that. I would still think they're both pretty good fits. But I like Kinlaw here, especially for a team that could be losing a lot of free agents, including Robert Quinn, Antoine Woods, what's the other guy's name? Malik Collins. This is a team that could be losing a lot of players via free agency because they're probably going to have to franchise tag Dak Prescott, and that franchise tag for quarterbacks ain't what it was 5 years ago. It's pretty expensive. And Amari Cooper, you're going to have to pay him. You might want to keep a few veterans, but guys are definitely going to leave. And yeah, you probably should mock this team a corner. I'm probably the first person that hasn't done that. I'm giving them Siobhan Kinlaw. I like the value here. I think he's a beast. Just watching his tape, freakishly athletic, and I think he'd add a new dimension to this pass rush. And it's not like the cornerback position for the Cowboys is terrible. They have Anthony Brown, who I think they're going to have to bring back. You also have Chidobe Awuzie. You have, what's the guy's name? There's another decent corner there, Jordan Lewis. They also have him. And who knows, maybe in this draft you find someone you really like in the second round. It's not the end of the world. Maybe you bring in a different free agent. But let's just go ahead and continue here at number 18, the second first-round pick for the Miami Dolphins via the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have them selecting Makai Becton, the tackle out of Louisville. If you look at his body type, he's 6'8", 6'9", damn near, and over maybe at 350 pounds. You look at that body type, he's comparable to Trent Brown, the offensive tackle for the Raiders, who had a good season with the Patriots, got paid a ton of money. A lot of people didn't like the signing. I said, hold on, let's wait. Could be a good signing. And sure enough, he played very well last year, and he was a Pro Bowler. Granted, Pro Bowl is a popularity contest. Doesn't mean much anymore, but I mean, hey, he made it on the first wave, so congratulations to Trent Brown. But yeah, this is a guy who has a similar body type who could be the Trent Brown for this team, could be that big physical freaky tackle who is bizarrely good in pass protection but is a mauler in the run game. Like, that's the kind of upside he has. We'll see if he puts it together. I think it's going to take a good O-line coach and a staff to really get that out of him, because yeah, you see a lot of guys that are freakishly athletic but they're all not good. That's the thing. So hopefully for Makai Becton, he can be good, because this is a team that needs the offensive line help. So if you can protect your future quarterback, at least here having it being Tua at number 5 overall, then you're doing the right thing. At number 19 overall, we got the Oakland Raiders with their second first-round pick via the Chicago Bears. I have them selecting C.J. Henderson, the cornerback from Florida. I really like C.J. Henderson's game, and I think he could be pretty good in the NFL. Just based on what I've seen from him. We've seen another fellow Florida defensive back slide in the draft last year, and that was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and I thought he was pretty good. I had him as a late first, early second in the NFL draft, and this guy went early fourth. Are you kidding me? All because he had quote-unquote tackling concerns. And yes, while he could not bring down George Kittle on that play in the fourth quarter against the 49ers, outside of that, I really haven't seen those tackling concerns show up, and he's been a stud. You can play him everywhere, slot corner, in the box, single high. Like, you can do a lot of different things with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And with C.J. Henderson, I mean, I think he'll be a pretty solid corner. It's hard to be really good in this league unless you're just a special type of cat, because all the rules are offensive, rules. They're all leaning towards the offense. It's hard to play corner consistently in this league. So we'll see if C.J. Henderson can, but I do like the pick here. I think it's a good pick for the Raiders. At number 20, the Jacksonville Jaguars will be making their second first-round pick via the Los Angeles Rams, and I have them selecting Grant Delpit, safety from LSU. You could probably make an argument for Grant Delpit going to the Raiders, but I decided just to give them a corner. But I really like this pick for Jacksonville, even though it's not a corner and it's not the quote-unquote Jalen Ramsey replacement. This team desperately needs safety help. You have Ronnie Harrison, who, yeah, he's solid, nothing special, but you have nobody else at safety. I mean, so you got to get some defensive back help, and Grant Delpit's probably the best option here and the best talent available. And I know, similar to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson last year, yes, he did have the tackling concerns last year, but he's still a hell of a player. You can line him up all over the field, and he'll do a lot for your defense. I like him in this scheme at free safety. I think Grant Delpit could be a good player. I know he has the tackle concerns. I wouldn't freak out too much. There are a lot of good corners and good defensive backs that can't tackle. It's just part of the league. You're not going to make every single tackle in football. That's just how it goes. Number 21 overall, I have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Laviska Shenault Jr. from Colorado, the wide receiver from Colorado. Laviska Shenault, I'm going to go ahead and say it. He's one of my guys, man. I really like him. I like his skill set. And you look at a guy like Deebo Samuel for the 49ers. Look at his skill set. A unique wide receiver. A guy who could play wide receiver, but you like him with the football in his hands doing a lot of different things. And I think Laviska Shenault is another one of those guys. I think he will offer that kind of skill set. I don't know if it'll be completely displayed with the Philadelphia Eagles, but if he goes to a team like the New Orleans Saints, who like to get creative, or if he goes to a team like the Packers, who desperately need another playmaker at the wide receiver position because Geronimo Allison ain't cutting it. But if he goes to a team where that talent can be displayed, you're going to see exactly what we're talking about, because he's looking at his Colorado tape. There isn't anything that he can't do. Like, he's played Wildcat quarterback. He's been a receiver in the screen game. He's had runs from the wide receiver position. He operates in the short to intermediate range. He shows a little bit of upside as a deep threat. There isn't really anything I don't think he can do as a wide receiver. And he's got good size on him. That's the thing. He's not like a guy who just doesn't have the build to take that kind of punishment, but he does a lot at Colorado. And I think with Philadelphia, a team that needs playmakers, that needs receiver help, I mean, you're filling in two needs, with one pick right here. Playmaker, receiver help. You get that with Laviska Shenault. Love the pick. One of my guys in this draft. At pick 22 overall, we have the Buffalo Bills. And they're going to be selecting T. Higgins, the wide receiver from Clemson. I feel like the only thing this receiving core is really missing is that big body receiver. You look at John Brown, he's the deep threat of the team. If you look at Cole Beasley, Beasley, as Shannon Sharp likes to call him, he is your slot receiver. Robert Foster, he's a good number 4. Isaiah McKenzie, more of a gadget player. You like to get him the football in space, but this team really needs a number 1. They need that big, physical, potential jump ball specialist in T. Higgins. Because let's face it, Josh Allen, he ain't the most accurate guy in the world. He ain't bad, though. I like what he did in year 2. And I think he can get even... I mean, obviously, he can get better. He's entering year 3. It ain't like he's been in the league for 12 years. I mean, obviously, he's going to get better. But I really like the pick right there. And it's a pick that helps not only Josh Allen, but the entire offense. The entire offense right there. At 23 overall, very, very controversial pick. I already know this is going to be talked about the most. But I'm just going to go ahead and say, at 23 for the New England Patriots, I do think Tom Brady's coming back, okay? But that doesn't mean you can't look at quarterbacks, okay? And at 23 overall, this is the highest I can see this guy going. I have the New England Patriots selecting Jake Fromm, the quarterback from UGA, the quarterback from Georgia. And there are two types of people in this world. I am neither, because I like to look at things from both perspectives. You have the people who like Jake Fromm a lot, and then you have the people who don't like Jake Fromm at all. I tend to fall in the middle. There's a lot to like about Jake Fromm. He's a little conservative. You'd like to have him be a risk taker. You'd like to see him push the ball down the field more, but he does show some signs of that. I mean, you just got to go look at his career, man. I mean, it's not always going to be there, but I mean, listen, man, I saw UGA play, who was it? Was it Missouri or was it Vanderbilt? I've seen him play one of those teams live, and this man threw a 75-yard touchdown bomb to Terry Godwin, so I don't want to hear he can't throw it deep. Okay, and if you want to look at some of his better film, look at the Notre Dame game this past season. It's a pretty good game for Jake Fromm to look at. But I do think there's a lot there, and from what I've heard, Bill Belichick really likes Jake Fromm, and hey man, I think it could happen. I really do think they could go with the quarterback for the future, but knowing New England, they'll just take like a 3rd round projected offensive lineman and make him into an all-pro. That's just what the Patriots do. It's the Patriot way. But at number 24 overall, I do have the New Orleans Saints. Oh my gosh. I have the New Orleans Saints staying in state and selecting a wide receiver, Justin Jefferson from LSU. Kind of more of a big-bodied slot receiver, but I do think on a team that needs pass catchers, it's not going to matter what his skill set is. I know Michael Thomas plays a lot in the slot, but he doesn't have to. You know what I mean? He just doesn't have to. Neither does Justin Jefferson, but that's where he thrives, being a bigger slot receiver. But to be completely honest, I mean, he doesn't need to, like I said. And this is a team that needs some pass catchers. I mean, outside of Michael Thomas, you got Ted Ginn, who's washed. I hate to say it, he just is. And Traquan Smith, who he's okay, but he's not reliable enough to be a consistent number 2 option in the receiving game outside of, Thomas and maybe Kamara. But they desperately need another option, and I think Justin Jefferson offers that for the Saints. And at number 25 overall, I have the Minnesota Vikings selecting Christian Fulton, the cornerback from LSU. I know you were thinking, yeah, put Trayvon Diggs from Alabama on the same team with his brother. I've seen that done way too many times. I figured I'd just switch it up. And I do like the pick here. And Mike Zimmer's a guy that knows the defensive back position better than a lot of the coaches in football. I'd say damn near all of them. And you have Trey Waynes, who is potentially going to hit the market. You have Xavier Rhodes, who's probably going to be a cap casualty cut for this team. Anthony Harris could demand a bag in free agency after the year he's had, even though he's a safety still. It's a defensive back nonetheless. I just think Christian Fulton helps fill in a void right there at corner. I know they've taken Holton Hill before. I know they've taken Mike Hughes, of course, in the first round. But like I said, Zimmer knows how to develop these guys. You just got to trust him to get a guy that he likes in the first round and just make it work. Because he can. I've seen it before. He can definitely do it again. At number 26 overall, the Miami Dolphins here with their third and final first-round pick via the Houston Texans. And I'm going to have them going with DeAndre Swift, the halfback from Georgia, the running back from Georgia. He is the number one back for me in this class. He offers a lot out of the receiving game, and we know he is a good receiver out of the backfield because Jake Fromm threw a shit ton of checkdowns. That's just kind of his game. But Swift does offer a lot, of course, in the running game. There's a reason his last name is Swift, because he just makes guys miss, okay? It's that simple. He makes guys miss. He's a pretty good running back overall. Does offer some good power, good balance. I just like his game, and he's the number one back to me. Not by a whole lot, but just based on what I've seen him do, I think he will translate pretty well. The Dolphins get running back help, which it's crazy to think in 2020 there are teams that desperately need running back help, but no team needs it more than the Dolphins. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick led their team in rushing. Just goes to show you how bad they really need it. At number 27 overall, the Seattle Seahawks, the hardest team to mock for because yeah, they're drafting in the first round, but you got to get that fourth round talent, baby, because that's what the Seattle Seahawks do. They overdraft. I mean, they took Rashad Penny in the first round when they didn't have to. They took LJ Collier this past draft in the first round when they didn't have to. They probably could have got him in round 3, to be honest, or at the end of round 2, but whatever. And DK Metcalf could have been the guy with 5 years on his rookie deal. But you know what? It's all good, Seattle. It's all good. I'm just messing with you. Don't get offended. But I do have you guys taking Xavier McKinney, the safety from Alabama. I know that this secondary has its starters set already, but you can't be afraid to get better at this position. Trey Flowers was an absolute disaster at corner this year, one of the lowest graded corners in the NFL, and he got bitched out by Devontae Adams, and only a way Xavier Rhodes can get bitched out by Devontae Adams. But seriously, Trey Flowers was a disaster at corner. A lot of Seattle fans were frustrated with his level of play, and rightfully so. I mean, if you're going to play on the outside and split some time in the slot, you're going to have to play better than that. And Xavier McKinney, he is a safety, of course. So you could probably use him as a slot, or you could actually play him as a safety and let, Quandre Diggs play in the slot. But Xavier McKinney will present a lot of different options. You could probably could have gave him Trayvon Diggs here, so that way you can just have a corner, but I decided no, we're not doing that, okay? Right here at 28 overall, I have the Baltimore Ravens going with Patrick Queen, the inside linebacker from LSU. I think teams will favor Patrick Queen over Kenneth Murray, which is why I have him going here to the Baltimore Ravens. He didn't go to Alabama, unfortunately, so the legend of Ozzie Newsome does not live on with selecting Alabama players in the first round, but you know what? It's all good because Patrick Queen is a heck of a linebacker. Kind of came on strong this past year, so did a lot of people from LSU. And I think he's going to be pretty good. This is a linebacking core that was pretty underwhelming. I expected guys like Kenny Young and Patrick Owasu to take that jump. Kenny Young, of course, got traded, and Patrick Owasu really didn't play his best football, which is why this is a need once again. I know they let CJ Mosley go, and I tried to tell people this team would be just fine, and they were. They went 14-2, but they still need a middle linebacker, okay? Safe to say. Patrick Queen, can't really go wrong with that pick. This defensive staff knows how to develop these linebackers. They have a good eye for talent, and I think Patrick Queen is the, I wouldn't say obvious pick, but the right pick for Baltimore to make. At number 29, the Tennessee Titans, I have them taking Yetur Gross-Matos, the edge rusher from Penn State. He's the best. I wouldn't say he's the best edge rusher remaining, but he's probably the one that fits Tennessee the most, or the most, I guess, right here at this spot. You could go with Julian Okwara. I don't know why I'm butchering names and messing up on words, but you could go with Julian Okwara, of course. You could go with Terrell Lewis from Alabama. But I think right here I'm just going to give them Yetur Gross-Matos. You could argue he should go higher in this draft, but I like the potential of him going to Tennessee, playing next to Harold Landry. This is a team that needs some pass rush, but granted, if you're only going to rush 3 guys for the majority of the AFC Championship, you're just allowing yourself to get carved up because you're not generating a pass rush. So, joke's on you, Tennessee, but seriously, adding edge rusher help, probably the best idea for you guys in this draft. Plus, you're going to have to pay Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, so you're not going to have enough money to go after a Yannick Ngakoue type of player, or even Dante Fowler. So, sorry about that. At number 30, I have my Green Bay Packers taking Kenneth Murray, the linebacker from Oklahoma. He's just a very talented guy at the linebacker position. He even showed some upside as a guy who could rush the passer, and pretty good in coverage as well. Just a really good athlete and an upgrade over anybody that Green Bay can trot out at the linebacker position. Blake Martinez, while he is a good run defender, is a liability in pass coverage. He should not be a 3-down linebacker, and quite frankly, he should not be the team's number 1 linebacker. So what the hell are you thinking, Green Bay? Go get Kenneth Murray if he's here at number 30. Just saying, just do it. Get it out the way, people. At number 31 overall, the San Francisco 49ers take hold on, I'm so sorry, I cannot read. The San Francisco 49ers take Trayvon Diggs, the corner from Alabama. My fault, my phone is like way down here from where I'm recording. My bad, couldn't see the little print. But Trayvon Diggs, number 31 overall to the 49ers. This is a team that could be in the market for some defensive backs. I think they got a couple that could be hitting the free agency market, including Jimmy Ward potentially. This is a team that could use another corner, maybe a third corner for their base nickel defense. Emmanuel Mosley was pretty good for this team down the stretch, and of course Richard Sherman. We all know Richard Sherman. Even though he got burnt by Sammy Watkins, it's okay. He's still a great corner. Calm down. I've seen Jalen Ramsey get burnt too. Okay? I've seen Devontae Parker make Stephon Gilmore his bitch, so it's okay. But anyway, Trayvon Diggs, good fit right here for the 49ers. Pretty much a better zone coverage corner at Alabama. This is a team that runs a lot of cover 3 in San Francisco. Seems like a good fit to me. And at number 32 overall, your Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. Even though they'll probably trade down on draft night, I have them selecting Jonathan Taylor, running back from Wisconsin. LaShawn McCoy's probably either going to retire or be a free agent. Damian Williams had a really good Super Bowl, but this team could look to add another running back, and I think Jonathan Taylor will offer this team a lot, similar to what Damian Williams does. I think he'll offer this team a lot as a receiver, as a runner. I think Jonathan Taylor would be a good fit in Andy Reid's system. I can definitely see this happening if they do decide to make the pick. But, yeah, it'll be pretty dope, to say the least. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There's my mock draft. Let me know how you feel about your favorite team's pick that I gave you guys. I know everyone's going to agree with all of my picks because, of course, that's how it always works. But let me know down below, do you like the guy that I gave your favorite team? And until next time, peace out.